Welcome back, family. You know by now, this space is about real conversations, growth, and staying rooted while we rise together. Today, we're talking about two things that can literally change the course of a person's life: mentorship and discipline. And these just aren't buzzwords, they're practices that shape who we are, how we show up, and the kind of legacy we leave behind. I want to set the tone with a quote. Mentoring is a brain to pick, an ear to listen, and a push in the right direction. John C. Crosby. And when you pair that with discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment, you start to see how powerful these two are when they work hand in hand. And today, I'm honored to be joined by Dr. Frederick Allen Barron. Dr. Barron is an author, educator, and a community leader. He's the founder and CEO of Dr. Barron Enterprises. He teaches ministry studies at OCC Global Columbia International University, and he's a proud father of four. Since making Virginia Beach home in 2018, he's been committed to empowering others through books, music, coaching, and education. But here on Rooted and Rising, he's family. So from here on out, I'm just calling him Fred. Fred, welcome, my brother, and I'm glad to have you here.
Listen, Tim, I'm so glad and honored to be here, man. I'm looking forward to our conversations on the different topics that we're about to discuss at this night.
Hey, man, again, I appreciate you. You know, like uh, I feel like it's very rare to find somebody who shares the same vision and passions as you do, especially at this day and age. You know how crazy the world can be sometimes, and again, I just appreciate you for being on the show tonight. So I'm gonna give you a. I'm just gonna clap it up for you one time. So to kick this off, when you hear the word mentorship, what comes to mind for you?
Yeah, so when I hear the word mentorship, I think about guidance and with a combination of relationship. So it's not just giving guidance, but actually like taking somebody by the hand and walking with them, so that they're not only just they feel the support. Mentorship is like, I'm walking with you. I got your back and I'm walking side by side. So that's the first thing that comes to my mind when I think about mentorship.
Okay, I would agree with that, and like we come from two different walks of life in a sense of career choices, right?
Right.
I was in the military uh, for 21 years, and mentorship, in a large sense, is one of those things that can make or break your career, right?
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like you can always tell which sailors had mentors and which ones didn't, right? And I would say majority of the time, the sailors that were very successful within their career, they had mentor or mentorship throughout their career, right?
Right.
And the ones that kind of just like fizzled out, maybe they started off with a mentor, but they kind of drifted or whatever. But I would say uh, the that is what helped me have a successful naval career was mentorship. Because I don't think I would have made it 21 years
Mm.
if I didn't have um, that mentorship from the people that I had, um, to make it to the 21 year. I think I would have got out a long time ago,
Yeah.
or I would have made it as long. I would have got in trouble or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that because when you think about mentorship, it's truly essential and necessary.
Hmm.
And so for you to speak about your success came from having mentorship and having mentors. And for those who didn't have it, they probably didn't succeed or probably didn't last as long as you did. So it's definitely something that needs to be really looked at as, hey, this is necessary and it's essential.
I agree. So, how do you see mentorship being different from just having a teacher, a coach, or even a role model?
Now that's a good question. I really look at teachers as one that educates, gives information. Coaches, they push performance, and role models, they really inspire, but role models really inspire from a distance so that the people that's watching them, they can see them, but they're inspiring from a distance. Now, when I think about a mentor can actually do all of that, like collaboratively, so a mentor does all of that, but it invests in that mentee. Whoever they're providing that mentorship, it invests in them for their growth and success. So I look at mentorship as pretty much like a combination as being a teacher, being a coach, and also being a role model. So it's very impactful.
I, I like how you said that. Like role model inspires from a distance. Like I never thought about that, right? And then or a coach pushing performance.
Yes.
Um, I never looked at a coach or a role model the way you just described it, and I like that because it put it in that perspective. Like a lot of things do make sense, right? And I kind of feel like you hit the nail on the head when you said a mentor is all those things combined.
Yes.
And but what I also think too though is like you should have a mentor for specific things, right? Like, and I think that's the thing that some people get wrong, and that's why uh, for them maybe mentorship doesn't work out or whatever. But it's because I think they look at somebody as a role model, right, or somebody that they want to emulate because they like the way they lead or they like the type of father they are, right? And they try to gain mentorship from that person, but maybe that person isn't, you know, giving them all the right things at one time. So it's like you have to have multiple mentors for different reasons. And I'll even say different seasons in your life, right? Because like I had a mentor for my job that I was in the Navy, and I had a couple of them. I had a first class mentor when I was you know starting out fresh in my career. I had um, uh, another mentor who was a chief. I had another one that was an officer. He was enlisted, then went officer. You know, so it's like you kind of have to spread it out. I had another mentor who wasn't even part like he wasn't my rate. He did something completely different, but he helped me with becoming a more well-rounded sailor, right? So it's like you got to have a mentor that helps you with your technical side of your job, right?
Mm.
To become a better at your job, to look at all aspects of what your job uh, entails, right? So you can consider yourself a subject matter expert, right?
Right.
But then you also need a mentor that's going to help you be a better professional. That's going to help you be, a better leader, a better communicator. Um, and maybe you want to talk to that person because they're better at doing paperwork
Mm-hmm.
than these other people, right?
Right.
So it's like, cool, I'm gonna go talk to this guy or gal because I know that they'll help me with this specific thing. They can mentor me in that. They can educate me. They can coach me, right? Because, as you said, mentors all those. And one and two, I think the other thing is a mentor is also that person that like when you're they hold you accountable for the path that you've decided to take,
Right.
right? So you sit there and you tell them your goals, right? Hey, in 2 years, this is where I want to be at. All right, cool. As your mentor, I'm gonna help you get there. And then if I come in and I do my checkup on you, hey, bro, it's been 2 months since we sat down and talked about your 2-year plan. Where you at?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, this is where you should be. So let me help you get to where you should be at. Because maybe fell behind a little bit, or everybody knows life happens. Maybe something came up, and it's like now you got to go to that mentor to say, "Hey, how should I adjust my course, so that way I can stay on track to reach my goal, and I don't have to really sacrifice too much or whatever. And I feel like that's what a mentor should be there to help you with,
Man,
if you have a good one.
Tim, you talking real good, man. You said a key word, accountability. And, when you think about accountability, a teacher may not hold you accountable. Because, like I said, a teacher is there to give you instruction, to
Mm-hmm.
educate. But they necessarily may not hold you accountable. A coach is there to help you with your performance, push performance. But they may not hold you accountable. You know what I mean? But a mentor, when you got a good mentor, they can definitely, they're probably going to hold you accountable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you talking real good. And I love that you said about you can have different mentors for different seasons. You know what I mean? Maybe that mentor is in your life for that season and for a specific purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So it's okay. I think that it's okay to have multiple mentors and actually they can overlap. Maybe I go see this mentor because this mentor helps me with my spiritual life. I go see this mentor because of his experience and how I appreciate how he is as a father. So he helps me with my children.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's very good, man. I really like that.
And the other thing I think is like, I feel like that's what's lacking in our community,
Mm,
right? As I would say, as a person of color, right? It's the mentorship is not always there
yes.
in a sense of true mentorship, right? A lot of people will say, "Oh, look at this person. Look at this." But me saying that my coach was a mentor is is not real. I don't view that as a mentor. That coach helped me achieve a goal I had, yes, but he did not mentor me to get there, right? He's pushing an agenda
Yeah.
that's for me to make it to the league, right? At the end of the day, I don't feel like those people in that situation that coach was a true mentor to that person. Did that person learn something from him? Cool. Was that person like maybe a father figure to him? Maybe,
Right.
right? But I don't really think it was mentorship because how many, and I'm gonna use athletes, right? Because in our demographic, that's majority of what you see, right? You have these athletes that make it to the league, whether it be baseball, football, basketball, and they always want to shout out. Oh, let me shout out Coach Jimmy. He was always there for me. Blah blah blah. But then it's like 2 3 years in the league, they either washed out. But what happened?
Mm-hmm.
My opinion is a lot of times they didn't have no mentorship.
Good.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because if they had a good mentor they had healthy relationship with, they wouldn't be washed out. They wouldn't be in the trouble that they in. You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't have the 5 6 7 baby mamas and all that stuff that comes with them getting into the league and making all that money. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like it's we're not taught as a community
Mm.
what mentorship is and what it should look like.
Definitely, I agree, man. I don't have no rebuttal against that. And I think as a community, we got to do better. And so for me to be on this podcast today, Rooted and Rising, this is just the beginning, man. We
Mm-hmm.
got to get the word out about the importance of mentorship and what it looks like. So I appreciate just being here.
I appreciate that too, man. Do you remember the first time you had a mentor who really impacted your life?
Absolutely. And I'm going to give credit to my grandmother, who rests in heaven, many years now. Uh, I would give her credit as my mentor because of who I've become.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to me being a father, when it came to me being a husband, when I had to be a husband, when it comes to me as a man of faith, she definitely contributed who I've become. And so I definitely look at her as my first mentor. And she definitely shaped who I became. And so I give her that credit. Of course, my mom and my father, I love them both dearly. They also contributed to who the man I'm becoming, so I'm thankful for them. And probably my pastors, not probably, but my pastors, every pastor I've had has been a mentor. Because to me, mentors care. A coach might only care for what you do for them in the game. A teacher might only care for you doing what you do for the grades. You know what I mean? But a mentor, they care.
Yeah.
And so that's why my first thought of my interaction or a mentor is my grandmother. She cared. And she's the reason why I am who I am today.
Respect to grandma.
Yeah, absolutely. No
Yeah.
doubt.
For me, I would say it would be my dad.
Okay.
I used to joke a lot when I was in the military, in the Navy, because my dad he served in the Marine Corps for 30 years, right? So I used to tell people all the time when I was in the service that yeah, I might be a sailor, but I got Marine blood in me, so I'm not built the same.
Yeah.
Right. And the way that my father raised me and then in turn mentored me when I got into service, if it wasn't for his mentorship on how to be a leader, how to take care of my junior sailors and move with purpose, I don't think I would have had the naval career that I had. Right. There was other people along the way that helped me out and taught me a lot, showed me things, but if I didn't have that foundation uh, that was given to me, or that my father helped me build, right? I don't think 21 years of service would have ever happened. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man.
But yeah, 100%. I would say my dad was the first time I had a mentor who really impacted me in that way.
Shout out to Dad, man. You got the Dad gang hat on. Shout out to Dad. Dads matter.
Yes, they do. What about the first time you realized you were actually mentoring somebody else?
Absolutely. So just the opposite. Excuse me. My children. Definitely, I have to say that's the first time I recognized my impact or mentorship to somebody else. I'm sure before I had children, somebody probably looked at me as a mentor, but it didn't. It didn't kick, or I didn't catch it until I had my children, and to see them, because your children watch you, so they trying to see how you going to navigate through a situation, and they're listening to how you respond and react. And so then when you see your children um, have the same qualities and characters as you, that automatically right there said, okay, you're doing some mentorship with your children. You're not just raising them,
Yep.
but you're shaping them and who they are going to become because of your example. Like I said, mentors care. And of course, we care for our children. So that's the first sign of me seeing um, my impact on mentorship with my children.
I like that. I like how you said, like we shape our children. Right?
Yes.
It made me think of when somebody plants a brand new tree and they put the two little like sticks on the side.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
To make sure that the tree grows straight, right? I feel like that's what parenting is, right?
Love it.
Your those sticks guiding,
Mm.
their trunk to be straight and strong, right? Because if we don't support them in that way, you know what I mean? They might lean too far to the left, too far to the right, or they might not even grow at all. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's what it made me think of. I didn't mean to go off on a different tangent, but
That's a great analogy.
that's what it made me think of.
Seriously.
And then to answer the same question, right? The time I realized I actually mentored somebody else I was in the Navy, and at the time I had this first class. I did not like him. I was a second class at the time, right? I was an E5 in the Navy, and E6. He was my LPO. He was in charge. He ran the division or whatever. And I did not like this dude, right? Like, good person,
Okay.
just horrible leader,
Mm.
right? And long story short, the whole time we were stationed together, we butted heads. And then, and I used to tell him a lot about leadership, right? And then he used to tell me all the time, like, how do you know, like, why do you think you know so much about leadership? You're an E5, I'm an E6. And then I told him, I was like, it doesn't matter what pay grade I am, right? If anything, I'm at the prime level of experiencing all different types of leadership because I'm at the ground level, right? I'm getting led by multiple people at one time. So I'm picking up on good shit and
Mm-hmm.
I'm picking up on bad shit, right? You're up at the top, so to speak, right? So it's like your view has went from, 100,000 feet to like 20,000 feet. So you're not seeing the same things that I'm seeing.
Mm.
All I'm telling you is widen your view, right? They don't want to listen. Fast forward a couple of years, I go to a different command. He's at a different command. He makes chief. Never in a million years was I expected to hear anything from this dude ever again. He reaches out to me and says, "Hey, bro, I just want to say thank you for helping me get my anchor. Because if it wasn't for the arguments and the tough love that you gave me when we were on the ship together, I wouldn't have been able to become a chief if it wasn't for you. And I appreciate you.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then it's like, that was the first time I was like, oh shit. Like, what? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it's like, so then after that, I used to tell people all the time, like, you can have a mentor. They don't have to be, you know, in a position of higher than you.
Oh, that's good.
Because, again, right? I said before, we all come from different walks of life.
Mm-hmm.
This person that, just because they're junior to you or subordinate to you, doesn't mean that they haven't lived more life than you live.
Right.
Right? They might have way more experience at something than you, but just because they're, you know, lower rank, if you're in the military, or in a lower position than what you are, doesn't mean that they don't know more than you. So you should never shut somebody out or miss an opportunity to gain something, right? Because everybody can put something into your basket.
Right.
It doesn't matter who they are, where they come from. Everybody can put something into your basket.
Absolutely.
So that was when I was like, oh man, I'm out here really doing something.
Right. I love that, man.
So now let's switch gears and let's talk discipline.
Uh-oh.
People often confuse it with punishment, but really it's about freedom. How do you personally define discipline?
Man, growing up, I ain't gonna lie. Discipline was punishment. That's the way we looked at it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But when you said what you just said, it's definitely a pathway to freedom. Because when you understand discipline, it's really being consistent, making it a habit of even the small things. Meaning, like, depending on the goal, you have to be disciplined in the small things to achieve those goals. And so when you reach that goal, it's a pathway to freedom,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that goal may be.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes discipline to get to that. And discipline shouldn't be looked at as punishment, even though maybe kids look at it as punishment. But there's strength in discipline. Man, I like that.
Mm.
There's strength in discipline.
Yes.
If you're not disciplined, sorry to say it, you're weak.
Yep.
You're not strong in character. You're not strong in whatever it is that is going to take you to reach that goal.
Yep.
So I think we need to eliminate that perception of discipline as a punishment, but discipline is the key or the path to reaching success, the key to the path of freedom, like you have said.
Mm-hmm. And I like what you said about discipline is consistency. The last episode I did, if anybody was out there listening, right, was about consistency. Consistency and growth, right? So, and it all ties in together, right? If I'm not consistent at the things that I do, how can I expect to be disciplined in my movements, right? But not only that, but it's one of those things where it's like, I, maybe it's because the way I grew up, and it was in a military household, so discipline uh, was very regimented, right? So it's like, don't have a routine, you're lacking discipline, right?
Right.
So that's the way that I try to teach my boys discipline, right? Is we set a routine for anything we do, right? So the one that I always bring up is like our routine when we come home from school. It it never changes, right? So it's we get as soon as you walk in the door, you go upstairs, you hang up your backpack, you take your Chromebook out, you plug your Chromebook in. Then you pick out your clothes for the next day and you lay them out. Our routine is done, right? But then it's like there's days where they lack discipline, they don't follow the routine, so then now it cuts into their free time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's 7 o'clock. Hey, did you guys plug in your Chromebooks? No. Oh, turn the TV off. Go plug in your Chromebooks. Did you pick out your clothes yet? No. Okay. Well, stop what you're doing. Go do that. And it's teaching them now, like, oh man, if I just go ahead, be disciplined, do what I gotta do first, then I can go and I have more time to watch TV. I have more time to relax, right? And then, but setting that routine and getting them disciplined in that after school routine has now transferred into other things. So now they understand. Prime example would be schoolwork. Hey, let me do all my schoolwork now. If I have an opportunity to do it while I'm at school, when I'm on the bus, on the way home, when I'm in the car driving to dad's house, then I can get everything done, and then I have more time to do what I want to do. Right. But it's they don't look at it. I feel like when depending on how you frame it, right, they don't see that as discipline. They see it as I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do, right? Like this is my routine. But it's like that one routine of what I'm doing every day when I come home from school has taught them the discipline and it's transferred into other things that they do because now they understand if I have a routine or if I do this a certain way, then that will allow me to have the free time at the end of the day or whatever, right?
Right.
So I feel like that's like an easier way to teach it without making it feel like discipline. Like to say like, or not, I don't say discipline, but not make it feel like a punishment, right?
Right.
Or a chore. Like, I got to do this. But hey, man, look at the end result.
Yep.
You get an extra hour and a half on your switch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I want to add to that, because it made me think of my children. Shout out to my children. I'm going to say their names: Freddie Jr., Arilla Renee, Janessa Lene, and Jasmine Ali. I always tell my children this from coming up. We do what we have to do so we can do what we want to do. But in order to do what you want to do, you have to do what you have to do. That's the incentive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's discipline. If you don't look at it like that, then you lose out on that freedom of doing the things that you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
First, take care of those things that you have to do so you can do what you want to do.
Yep. Same thing. I tell Levi and Cole the same thing all the time.
Yeah.
But I think the hardest part trying to teach discipline or whatever, right? Is when I was in the Navy, right? Like taking a junior sailor who maybe grew up in a not so structured household, right? So like there's a lot of, and you would be amazed by how many kids join the Navy and don't know basic things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like hygiene. Like what? You don't know that you have to brush your teeth every day, take a shower, wash your clothes. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like no one taught you that. You know what I'm saying? But it's like either mom and dad were doing it for them their whole life, or they grew up. Like I said, they grew up in a house that didn't have a lot of structure. So it was just as long as I see you eat dinner, I did my job for the day. You know what I mean?
Right.
But trying to teach a person like that discipline is hard.
Yes.
And it's like you kind of have to, you know, use them as an example and almost punish them sometimes to teach them the discipline,
Mm.
right? But it's like as a mentor or someone in a position to lead, you kind of have to find that it's like a fine line, right? Of I have to instill discipline in this person, but I don't want to overstep and it turn into something hostile, right? Or something negative. And now they're going to view me in a negative connotation, right?
Mm.
And this it's even with kids, right? Like especially if you have kids that live in two separate households, right? You don't have them all the time, so your view on discipline might be different than the other parents' view on discipline. So then it's how do you find that balance of teaching them it doesn't matter whose house you're in, what parent you're with. This is the standard across the board, right? And then I don't. I just feel like when you're that's like that, it's a hard line to walk sometimes.
Absolutely.
What's an example where discipline really shaped the outcome for you or for someone you've mentored?
Definitely, an example for me would be my pursuit of my educational achievements. You know, as you introduced me as Dr. Barron, that right there shows that I had to be committed and disciplined
Mm-hmm.
to be able to achieve those goals. And so the discipline turned the late nights of studying into what I have on the back of my walls: the bachelor's degree, the master's degree, and that doctorate degree. Um, Without discipline, I don't think I would have been able to achieve those goals. You know, I would have probably lacked the focus or lost the motivation.
Mm-hmm.
So it took discipline for me to achieve those goals academically. That's definitely the first example that comes to my mind.
Yeah, and I just want to say the fact that you accomplished what you've accomplished academically, you're like in the top 1% of the 1%, right? And that number is probably even smaller because you are a black man,
Come on.
right?
Yes, sir.
So it's like just just take a moment to think about that, right? Because when you told me that you had your doctorate,
Right.
I was like, what? I I was hyped, man.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Like that is to me that's like you're at the pinnacle of black excellence. You know what I'm saying? Like not only that, but like think about what you set the tone for your family, right? As a father, you set the tone for your to give your kids something to emulate, to look up to, right? Like you are their role model.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're already the role model because you're their dad. But now it's like, hey man, my dad's a doctor. What you got?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And like to me, that's dope as fuck.
I appreciate that, and not to cut you off, Tim, but you said it exactly how I pursued it. You know, my children can attest to this. They're witness. Before I had anything, when I got my associate's degree, I had 2 children, my 2 oldest daughters, and I would tell them all the time. I said, if your daddy gets his associate's degree, you have to get your bachelor's degree. And then I said, if my daddy gets your bachelor's degree, you have to get your master's degree. What I was trying to do was set the standard, but also try to encourage them and inspire them. Daddy might set the standard and the tone, but I believe in you that you can be better than me.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about mentorship, we talk about discipline. Mentors really believe in their mentee.
Mm-hmm.
And their ultimate job is to inspire that mentee. Listen, I believe in you, and I'm going to help you get there. And so that's what I did for my children. I set the tone. I never thought of going to get my doctorate degree. All I was trying to tell my children, whatever level of education your daddy gets, I believe you can go even higher.
Mm-hmm.
And now I didn't take it to the highest enough I can take it. But I still believe my children. If that's their goal, if that's their desire,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? But I just set the standard.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, hey, if your daddy can do it,
You can do it.
you can do it too.
Yep. That was the whole reason why I went back to school myself, right? It was that and my mom. She was on my ass the whole entire time I was in the Navy. For 21 years, at least once a month, I would hear, "When you going back to school?
Mm.
When you going back to school?" And I I was like, like school's not really my thing. I don't need school. And then after I had got diagnosed with cancer, and I couldn't do my job anymore. I was like, well, I got all this free time. Let me go back to school. And it was one of those things where it's like, how can I sit here and preach not only to my kids, but to these junior sailors that look up to me? Y'all need to go get your education. You need to do this. You need to do that. Right? And I'm showing them all the tools so they can be successful in their personal life when they get out of the Navy. Right? But I'm not doing that shit for myself. So I was like, wait a minute. It's kind of like I'm it's a little, I'm kind of sort of being a hypocrite, right? I can't sit here and look at somebody in the face and say, "Hey, education is important. You need to, you know, go get your degree. That piece of paper is going to help you." Blah blah blah. I can't tell that to my sons. I can't tell that to the junior sailors when I was in the Navy that I was mentoring or whatever, and telling them like, "Hey man, education is important. Get that shit. You can do it."
Right.
Right. But then all the while I'm sitting back, not going to school my damn self. So I started going back to school. I got my bachelor's, and then today I just signed up, re-enrolled in school, so I can get my master's degree.
Let's go.
I start school. I start class October 20th.
Okay.
So I'll be out here get my master's.
Right.
And it's the same thing. It's like I was just one of those moments I had where I was like, what am I doing? Right? Like I'm still out here telling people like, go for it, go get your education, go do this. But then I have an opportunity to do the same thing, and I'm not taking that opportunity. Like, and it's too like you said, right? Like, I know if I do this, I'm setting the standard, and I can tell my sons, right? I did it. What's your excuse?
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I kind of went off on a tangent.
Now, congratulations, man. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
And stay focused, stay disciplined.
Mm-hmm.
And if you ever need a mentor,
I already know who I'm going.
I'm here for you, man. I'm proud of you.
How do you see discipline showing up differently in personal life versus professional life?
Yeah, so I actually wrote this down because this question was powerful to me. You know, the difference in personal versus professional life. And there is a difference. And I wrote down this: personal discipline builds habits that shape character. Personal discipline builds habits that shape character. Professional discipline builds trust.
Mm.
People know you'll show up
Mm-hmm.
and deliver. The beautiful thing is when you can take pride in being able to say, I am personally disciplined and professionally disciplined.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Mm.
In and out of the workplace. I want people to look at me and be like, that's a disciplined man. He's a man of integrity. I can trust him in the workplace.
Yep.
Guess what? I can trust him out of the workplace because personal discipline builds habits that shape character. Professional discipline builds trust.
I like that.
Appreciate
I
it.
like that. And you're right. It's like that professional discipline is, I would say, is that equates to your work ethic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's what people see first in the workplace, right? What is it? And like, I had a job interview uh, beginning of the year, and that was one of the questions they asked. If you had to describe your work ethic, what would you say?
Mm.
And the first thing I said was, I gave them three words. I said discipline, reliable, selfless.
Mm.
And then they all kind of just looked at me, they're like, well, can you elaborate? And I was like, like, I didn't really know how to elaborate on it because I felt like it was pretty straightforward, right?
It is.
So, yeah, I just told him, the reason why I said discipline is because I'm disciplined in my movements, right?
Mm.
Like, I'm going to let you know that when I say something, I mean it. And I follow through. There's no ambiguity with me when I'm explaining something to you, especially in the workplace, right? I was like, reliable. I'm there when you need me. I'm a team player. Whatever I need to do to get the mission done
Mm.
or for the team to succeed, I'm going to do it. And selfless, I just said it. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
team player.
Right.
I don't always have to be in the limelight. I don't always have to be in a leadership role. I know how to be a follower. I know how to take direction and go out and do what I got to do so that way I can make the team successful. And they was like, okay, taking their notes down. I said it. But it was just like, I, I think the discipline part correlates to your work ethic, right? And sometimes people look at you because they see they see the cover of the
Mm.
book first,
Right.
and they come up with a perception of what they think you might be like, right?
Mm.
But then when you start talking and you let your actions speak for you first, and then I feel like, especially in a work environment, to show how disciplined you are, you should lead with your actions, follow it with your words, and then it's the opposite way in your personal life, right?
That's
To
good,
show
man.
discipline, I feel like you should lead with your words and you should follow it up with your actions to show that you are disciplined in your personal life,
Mm.
right? But I feel like in your professional life, it's the opposite. You lead with actions, you follow it up with words.
I like that, man.
So, in my experience, mentorship without accountability doesn't last. How do you think mentorship and discipline connect?
Yeah, so I think there's a connection definitely because it helps with that person growing.
Mm-hmm.
So when I think about mentorship, mentorship gives direction. Your mentor's going to shape you and help you and like, hey, this is what we're going to do. And it's going to give you direction to get there. Discipline gives structure. And so when you put the direction and the structure together, they create transformation,
Mm.
lasting change. So it's definitely something that you want to have together. I'm glad we're talking about these two topics,
Mm-hmm.
mentorship, discipline. You need both.
Mm-hmm.
And so mentorship gives direction, discipline gives structure. And when you have them both combined and put together, it's transforming.
Mm-hmm.
You will see you growing. You will see you improving and becoming better when you can recognize I have a mentor who gives me direction. And because of my mentor and my commitment to the direction, I'm disciplined, which creates structure.
I like that. I like that. I like that. I would say, yeah. Uh, I'm like on the same lines as you, right? Like I can't think of another way to like expand on that. Uh, but yeah, yeah,
Yeah, we in agreement.
yeah. So with that being said, right, I kind of touched on it a little bit previously, but how do mentors strike that balance between encouragement and tough love?
Mm. The balance has to be demonstrated through, like I said earlier, and we talked about it, a mentor showing that they care. If I'm mentoring you, I don't look at it as a job. I am mentoring you because I care about you. And so that balance of encouragement and tough love, the mentee has to understand my mentor don't mean any harm. He only wants what's best for me, or she only wants what's best for me.
Mm-hmm.
My mentor cares about me. And so if you have a mentee that's kind of, inconsistent and needs some tough love, just make sure you say, hey, I love you. I care about you. I'm tough on you because I believe in you.
Yeah.
So that's definitely what I think is important. As a mentor, you have to be able to have that balance of
Mm-hmm.
encouragement and tough love.
Yeah.
But make sure you demonstrate it with care. That's it.
I would agree. You do have to have that level of care. I almost feel like too, a part of that is along with the level like showing how much you care for your mentee would be um, like you you believe in their goals just as much as they believe in their goals,
Mm.
right? Like you want to see them win more than they want to see themselves win. And sometimes, right? And it's because it's like some people just need one person in their life to say, I see your potential and I know that we can get there together. And I don't need anything to get you there.
Right.
I'm doing this because I see what you can be. You just need a little guidance. You just need a push, right? And like having that level, like not level, but trying to find the balance between encouragement and tough love. I don't think it's necessarily that hard. I just think it's uh, understanding that sometimes encouragement will look like tough love,
Mm. Good.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the way that you show the person on the other that's receiving that is, I'm still here with you, right? I'm still gonna ride with you on your bad days. I'm gonna ride with you on your good days. I'm gonna be here to lift you up because life ain't always gonna be, rainbows and unicorns. There's gonna be some dark clouds some days. You know what I mean? And I think that's part of being a mentor is you've experienced adversity already in whatever it may be, right? So because you've already, you know what it's like to get through the suck. Now I can give that person a little tough love to prepare them for the storm, right? So I'm turning the encouragement into tough love because I know what's ahead for that person, right? Because I feel like as a mentor, I'm not just looking at the right now. I got to look at the what's next. You know what I'm saying? Because that person that I'm mentoring, they're focused on the right now. You know what I mean? Like they have tunnel vision, and I feel like as a mentor, it's your job to prepare them for the what lies ahead. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm gonna set you up right now so you can be successful in this moment. But I want that longevity. So what I'm giving you, the tools I'm giving you right now, is not only gonna get you through this storm, but it's gonna get you through every storm thereafter. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
What does it look like to model discipline instead of just demanding it?
That's easy. You leading by example. You're showing discipline and how you conduct and carry yourself. You know, let's say you're trying to teach somebody about being on time. You lead by example by not being on time, but being early.
Yep.
You know, you lead by example by being a man of your word or a woman of your word. You know, having integrity. Simple. Leading by example is how we put it.
I would also say consistency is a way that you can model discipline, right? Because to me, discipline looks like different things, right? But I feel like the most important thing to model discipline is consistency.
Absolutely.
Being consistent in your actions every day is the, you know, to me, because now people are seeing, right? Because by me being consistent, and I said this in the last episode with Julius, right? My consistency has now set an expectation to demand the same from everybody else, right? Because, like, I'll use the Navy, right? uh, if my division knows that I get to work every day at 6 o'clock, like every day at 6 o'clock, even when I don't have duty, I'm on the ship at 6 o'clock, right? And my division was like this. They knew I came into work at 6 o'clock every day. And granted, not everybody would show up, right? But every majority of my division would be on board the ship by 6:30 because they knew I was already there, right? So then they would start trickling in, and by 6:30, everybody, I would say like 90% of my division would be there, going starting the workday. All right, let's get on the computer. Let's check message traffic. Let's do this. Let's do that, right? Because I had set the expectation. I set the standard.
Yes.
Because of my consistency of coming into work. And all it takes is one or two people to see you. Hey, I'm in work, and they'd be like, "Oh, so are you here so early?" Starting the day, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I just tell them, China's not waiting on us. You know what I'm saying? You think China's out there like, you know what? We gonna wait. Like, nah, they plotting on us right now. Like, nah, man, come on, let's get with it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then I think the other thing is that goes to tie into to the military, right? A line that you would hear people say is like, "You can't lead where you won't go," or "I'll never make you do anything I've never done." Right? I think those two things go hand in hand. I think that's another way that you can model discipline instead of just demanding it. Like, I'm not going to tell you to go like my kids. Like, I'll never, hey, go cut the grass. They ain't never seen me cut the grass, right? Like, I can't demand that from them, and they never see me do it.
Yeah.
So
reminds me of that do as I say, but not as I do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I hated that saying when I was a kid. I hated that. I used to get told that a lot though. Right. For someone listening right now who feels like they don't have a mentor, where do they start?
Yeah, so you start by seeking community. You look for somebody that you're inspired by or inspired by, their life.
Mm-hmm.
And be bold enough to ask for the guidance. Like, look, observe.
Yeah.
I really take pride in that. I am a person who is reserved and very observant, meaning I want to get to know a person and how they react, how they conduct themselves, and how they speak. So if somebody looks like they feel like they need a mentor but they don't know where to start, I would say, look, start seeking out for a community.
Mm-hmm.
Observe people. And if you see something that you like in that person, be bold enough to have a conversation.
Yep.
That's how it is. That's how you start it off.
To piggyback on what you said, Rick, I agree. I'm the same way. I like to watch people first, right? And I kind of, it could be maybe because I'm a little introverted or whatever, but I like people to come to me, and then I'll tuck your head off all day, right?
Right.
But I'm not as some would say, a social butterfly, right? Unless you come to me, we spark up a conversation. I'll talk to you all day, right?
Mm-hmm.
No problem. I'm just not initiated. I have to see how you move a little bit first, and then you know what I'm saying. We can start talking about the deep thoughts and all that stuff. But yeah, I would say watch first, observe,
Mm-hmm.
and then don't think that just because that person might have something or emulate something that you're seeking doesn't mean that they have to be your mentor for life, right? You know, not a lot of people have lifelong mentors. You know what I'm saying? It's very rare to find somebody that says, "Oh yeah, this person's been my mentor for the last 72 years." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I feel like you don't really see that a lot. Not saying that it doesn't happen. I just don't think you see that as often as one would think.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the beginning of this, we said that mentorship is through seasons, right? So at wherever you're at, you might see somebody that's emulating something at that time that you're craving or that you need.
Mm.
You seek that, and sit down and have a conversation. Hey, can you show me the way?
Mm-hmm.
Can you help me with this? Can you give me a little mentorship on this? Give me some guidance, right?
Right.
And then, like I think that's a good way to start. And then on the flip side, right? A lot of people think they're not ready to mentor until they quote unquote arrive.
Mm.
What would you say to those people?
To those people, I would say it's okay. You don't have to arrive to be a mentor. You just need to understand that you have some type of life experience. And you just have to be willing to share what you've experienced, your knowledge. That's what mentorship is.
Yeah.
And like we've already discussed and established, there's mentors for every season. And that mentor may only be able to mentor you for a specific thing or path.
Mm-hmm.
And so to be a mentor, just be willing to share what you have knowledge, wisdom, and experience in. For example, if I've never been married, I can't tell or be a mentor to somebody that's looking for marriage advice or somebody to help me be a better husband or help me be a better husband. I ain't got that. Don't look for me to be your mentor. I ain't never been married. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you just have to be willing to share what you know and have experience in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think mentors is perfect. I just think they have experience that can help them help somebody else.
Yeah. I would say when I first started in early in my career, I don't want to say early. I'll say maybe like when I got to like the 10-year mark, I was a fresh little E6, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like once I put on E6, I had a lot of junior sales looking up to me. hey, it's one, like, tell me how to get to where you at, kind of deal. And in my head, I was like, nah, I can't mentor you because I ain't get there. I ain't get nowhere yet, right? Like, I still got things to learn. I still haven't achieved the things that I want to achieve. So how can I bring somebody else with me? And then I had a conversation with at the time he was a chief, Tony Turner, amazing dude, loved him. He gave me so much knowledge when I was at that command I was at. But uh, Tony sat me down. He was like, "Hey man, I noticed, like, a lot of these street guys, they look up to you, but you don't really like engage with them. Why is that?" And I told him, like, because chief at the time he was a chief, because chief, I ain't make it yet. He was like, okay, but like, to who? You didn't make it to who? He was like, ask yourself that question. Who who's telling you you didn't make it? Right? He was like, I'm gonna break it down to you. You're in E6, you can retire. Not only that, but you made E6 in 10 years. Some people don't make it that quick, right? He's like, I'm not saying that you made it fast, but you didn't make it slow, right? He was like, so what didn't you make? Where do you think you should be at? Do people not? He's like, you got officers coming to you to do these briefs to admirals. Come on, yeah. Right? You as an E6, you out there talking to admirals. What other E6 is doing that right now? But you didn't make it. He was like, come on, brother. Tell these young guys, hey, this is what I did to be successful. You can do it too. That's all they're looking for, right? So that belief of I'm not successful enough or I haven't arrived yet is like a false perception you put on yourself, a false expectation that you put on yourself because you think whatever person that you're looking at to emulate as a mentor, right? When I be a mentor, I want to be like this guy because they're successful and they have a lot of mentees. You think that you have to be successful in order for you to be able to have mentees, and it don't necessarily work like that. There's always an opportunity for you to put something in somebody's basket and take something from somebody's basket. It's always an even exchange. Don't matter where you are, what stage in life you're at. Don't matter if you're down bad, if you're up really good. Don't matter. There's always an opportunity for you to mentor somebody, learn something from somebody, or teach somebody something.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Tony.
Yes. All right, Fred. Before we close out, I got some quick one hitters for you. Right. Best piece of advice a mentor ever gave you.
I wrote this one down, but I'll never forget it. Never forget where you came from, but don't allow it to limit where you're going. Never forget where you came from, but don't let it limit where you're going.
I like that. That's deep. All right. A book or resource you recommend on mentorship or discipline?
So I'm going to be biased. I'm going to say my own book by yours truly. It's called Think Better, Live Better.
Okay.
And I did bring you a copy today, so I'm going to give that to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Did you sign it?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. All right. Hardest lesson you've had to pass on to someone you were mentoring?
That failure is a part of growth. We're all going to fail at some point. But it's not the end. It's what you do when you fail. It's what's more important.
Amen. I like that. And then, hold on. Last one. A discipline habit you keep in your daily life.
I start every day with prayer. And I close it with prayer. And I keep everything on my calendar. That's my discipline. It helps me, though.
That's good.
Yes, sir.
All right, I said that was the last one, but I lied.
Okay.
One thing you wish more people understood about mentorship.
It's about relationship. It's about your mentor being in relationship with the mentee. The mentee has to understand that I'm there for you because I care for you.
I like that, and I would agree. I would agree. All right, Fred, I want to say thank you for sitting down and sharing your wisdom today. It was very, very much appreciated. And what I loved about this conversation is how mentorship and discipline aren't just concepts, they're daily practices. They're choices we make that shape the people around us and ripple into the next generation. And to everyone listening, I hope today gave you something to reflect on. Who's mentoring you? Who are you mentoring? And how is discipline showing up in your life? I'll leave you with this thought. True growth happens when mentorship meets discipline. That's where potential turns into purpose. Thanks for rocking with us, family. And until next time, stay rooted, stay rising.